guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Alana here. Welcome back to 3 Degrees of Love Divination. So finally I'm getting to my latest A Cup Full of Love pick 3 mindful messages of March as we move into April. And as I'm filming this, it is actually the 3rd day of April, and this week with the weather has been quite up and down, sort of a little bit of a roller coaster ride, if you will, with rain, snow, rain, then freezing rain, flickering of power, and then yesterday evening, I ended up with a fire alarm that went off of my building. So it was just a set of distractions and chaos. But if you haven't seen my latest post of the therapy and tarot reflection video of the Reclaim Oracle by Marianne C. Vasquez that I just posted to my channel, be sure to check it out. I do a flip through of the 2nd edition of the deck, which was lovingly gifted to me by Marianne herself. And then, of course, the latest Kickstarter, which I did back, of the 4th edition of the deck. So I do a side-by-side comparing the various cards, some of the changes to the box, the cards, the additional cards that have been added to the course of the deck since the beginning of its existence. So I hope that you will definitely check that out and take a look-see. And then, of course, there is the previous video I did most recently that where I do basically a first impressions and unboxing, if you will, of the 4th edition. And of course, if you want to learn more about Marianne, you can also check out the Belle Let's Talk Day that I did with her and Ruth, the creator of the Emotional Kaleidoscope deck. So please check that out. And of course, one of the very first collab interview videos I've ever done on this channel, and that is with Marianne. So learning more about her creative process and what inspired her to create the deck itself. So please for sure check that out. And yeah, so today, as I've changed over a little bit of decks, and also, like I did mention in my previous video, if you haven't seen, regarding the Reclaim Oracle, I did talk about wanting to use it, in this latest pick a pile reading here for the collective, as we like I said, close out March and begin April. And of course we had April Fools, so I guess too that's maybe the universe playing a joke here on all of us, on the collective, in that sense. At least where I am in regards to the weather, like I was mentioning, and, you know, in regards to the fire alarm and stuff. But, you know, of course, let me know what you've kind of had to, you know, endure that maybe sort of, you know, seem very tomfoolery, if you will, in the last little while. You know, anyhow, so getting into it, you know, I do have, and I still never figured out what exactly this particular stone is called. Like I said, I think it is what I had said the last time, or the first time I introduced this crystal heart here of mine that I have here. But we also have the pendulum, which was also something that came with the gentle heart tarot that I have used in my previous pick 3 readings that I've done recently, mindful messages, and that's the deck that I mentioned previously, that is created by Vanessa Samoya of Bow Life, Switzerland, and that also includes this rose quartz heart too. This again, this bigger sort of brownish, pinkish, beigeish kind of heart, crystal heart, is something that I purchased, I think, online or off Etsy or whatever. But anyway, so, you know, of course, whatever pile sort of speaks to you, you feel called or more drawn to, you know, you're more than welcome to, you know, fast forward or you know, skip through and, you know, only listen to whichever pile that seems to resonate most with you. Or, of course, you're welcome to listen to all the messages and link them all together, or one or two, or however you choose to do it. You know, take whatever sort of resonates with you and leave the rest for someone else that needs to hear it, you know, including me. So as we, you know, do this reading together for, you know, ourselves, and for introspection and reflection and, you know, inspiration, right? All of those things. So, so with all that being said, you know, if you like my content and, you know, you enjoy these readings, please let me know. Comment down below. And, you know, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And, you know, help me to build this community. I do have some exciting things and collabs coming up, you know, in the next few months, for future videos. So you want to, you know, be sure to stay tuned and, you know, spread the word. I am actually, and I'm announcing this now, starting a new channel. And it is a collab channel that I'm actually doing with a, beautiful mother-daughter team. And that is, of course, the beloved Alexis Milner, of her, you know, self-named channel, and of course, the beautiful Zesty Zoe over at Tego. So, of course, I will have their channels linked down below. But we are doing a collab channel, and calling it the Spiritual Void, from A to Z. So, you know, come and join us over there, you know, and enter the void with us, from A to Z, is where you will, you know, be able to catch us all 3 over there. And that includes me, Alana Banana, along with the beloved Sexy Lexi, and the beloved Zesty Zoe. So be sure to check us out, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. The idea is that I want us to, you know, it's about getting together. And what I have been finding as I, you know, been, you know, in this hermit mode and self-reflecting and, you know, trying to, shed old, events and circumstances, and, that, mental conditioning, and ways of thinking. It has occurred to me that in my spiritual journey, in my growth, that I've been doing for, myself and my mental health, and to heal, of course, I found myself, like I've said previously, becoming and growing into an omnist, ascending into, a higher understanding of spirituality as a whole, sort of breaking that glass ceiling of that sort of dogmatic programming of religion. There are certain values that I still, to what my upbringing is, and honoring my, my heritage and traditions, that I still, very much uphold and value with, with the highest integrity. But also recognizing the important teachings from all other aspects of religion and spirituality. And in that, deeper journey into what I would say call the spiritual void that I find myself in, because I am not either fully accepted to, to the left side, and no longer seem to be, welcomed or as connected to, what I have always known. And, it's in understanding this, disconnect, and, the lower vibrational energy and unconscious choice of behavior based on conditioning to behave a certain way, that really, to me, goes against all aspects of the teaching. When you translate it all boils down to the same thing that I've discovered, and that is the understanding that we are all love. And it was in that, doing mirror work, that I come to understand and can proudly say and identify myself as love for that reason. And if I stand in my truth and my honor and my respect of self and my origins and my historical upbringing and background to where it all begins, well, it begins with our Creator. Our Creator created me. And in understanding me and respecting me and honoring me, I can now have a clear understanding and vision of the other me's that I see outside of me. And the reflection that I see, because we are all reflections of one another, of one whole. We are all fragments of one whole that reflect. And we reflect with one another the lessons of life and living that we need to learn. That includes all aspects of our journey, including our trauma and our conditioning of behavior. Until we can understand that and respect that as individuals, it's going to be very, very hard for us to come to that connected, collective understanding of what it means to be loved and to be alive. So that is why I felt the need to, take this journey, with like-minded individuals who seem to have, in their own unique way, have that same understanding of value and respect and love. And so for all of you that identify with that, regardless of what your journey is, I welcome you to join us in taking this journey into this void of understanding on what truth and love and integrity is really all about. And in that understanding, we can grow a community and collectively come together to discuss all topics and how it relates and connects to mental health and healing and spirituality and community and global understanding of humanity and love. Did I mention love again? Okay, yeah. If I didn't, and if I did, well, here we go again. Love. True understanding of the highest vibration. Anyways, so with all that being said, let's get right into it, and we'll start with pile number 1. Okay? So, let me just move these up here, and let's start with pile number 1, which is, of course, the, reading from left to right. Pile number 1 with the rose quartz, pile number 2, again with the pendulum, and pile number 3 with the bigger, brownish, beige, pinkish heart, like I said. Yeah? Okay. So pile number 1 with the small rose quartz heart. So taking from the African Goddess Oracle by Abiola Abrams, or the African Goddess Rising Oracle, by Abiola Abrams. And taking from that, the first card I have here is a set, Surrender. And that's number 44. So card number 44. And the first thing that really comes to mind here with, the child and, the woman here, the goddess, draped in, a sort of beige-like cloth with the roses around. Respecting the Earth Mother, the divine feminine. It makes me think of Mary Magdalene. But anyway, let me grab the guidebook here and let's get into that. So, card number 44, and of course you can check out the angel message for that number for numerology, and if I remember, I will also put it up in editing for you so you can see. But let me just read the entry here in the guidebook for this card. So, okay. Card number 44 is set. goddess of spiritual surrender, Nubia / Egypt, temple, high priestesses, element, bush. Goddess Eset is revered as a magical healer and sorceress. She of 10,000 names. You may know her as Isis, her Greek name, or Aset, or Waset. Iset was worshipped in ancient Nubia, the Sudan region, Egypt, and beyond. Iset's guidance. Let it all go. Say aloud now, I surrender. These words cast a spell. Breathe them in. Embodiment. Release control. Stop bonding around struggle. Hand the keys to the divine. Allow spirit to carry you and fill in the gaps. You don't have to figure it all out. God / Des has your back. Have faith in where you are at this moment. Goddess declaration. Everything I need to know finds me at the perfect time. So I absolutely love that. And, that really sort of, as I'm reading that is really, speaking to me and reminding me and, certain sayings that, well, of course, trust in divine timing, of course, and that's pretty much what was said in the guidebook. But, also, I'm hearing, when we worry about, when we let our fear jump in the driver's seat of our minds and overtake, our time, our mental, what's the word? Focus away from, other things and being in the present moment, and that's because, of course, the acronym that goes, false evidence appearing real. So when we're worrying about, an outcome that hasn't actually occurred yet, right? And so, and having that being a focus instead of just allowing ourselves the gratitude to be processing through the moment, not to say that we're stepping out blindly without, the necessary information, that we need to make a logical choice in our next steps, but getting to understand that until we're in that particular moment that we're so worried about, we actually don't know what the actually right choice is going to be for us to have to make until we're in that precise moment. So, sort of taking that burden of concern that is unnecessary off our plate, because there's really in the moment that we're worrying about it, that hasn't happened yet. We can't do anything about that. So just, allowing and trusting in spirit that you're going to be given, and receive, the understanding, the intuitive nudges to know in that moment what is the choice that you need to make at that time. Right? Because you can't really You yourself don't know what exactly can happen. Yes, there are potential, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, you know, outcomes, if you will. But none of them are definitive, right? Because we can only control ourselves. We can't control the actions, especially if the situation, you know, involves another human, another person. We can't really, you know, particularly calculate. It all depends on, you know, how we, from a logical standpoint, choose to proceed. So anyway, you know, so I hope that, and you know, and just the, you know, again, you know, the respecting of the, you know, the divine feminine, and, you know, our heritage. And, you know, as we can see, it doesn't matter, to me, it doesn't matter our skin tone. It doesn't matter, right? We nourish each other, and we've been doing that for generations. So understanding that we need each other in order to continue the cycle of humanity going. The light, the dark, right? All aspects of earth, because, you know, the color of soil varies depending on its positioning. It's right. And the deeper you go into the earth, the darker the soil. We come from the earth, we go back to it. Let's respect one another and the divine feminine. Our divine mother. Okay. So now we have from the Ebony Oracle deck by Himalaya, we have 18, Get Primal. Okay. Okay, we have 18, Get Primal. Allow your inner mammal to play. Sister, we are living in some wild times. Wouldn't you agree? So why not untame the primal, playful, spontaneous aspects of yourself and reclaim that part of you that has been longing to run with the wolves and romp with the koalas? There is practically nothing that can bring us out of the mind and into the body more than liberating ourselves to play, wrestle, dance, or make love like wild creatures. We have two different kinds of brainwaves. The reptilian patterns of fight or flight survival, and the mammalian patterns, which generate rest and digest brainwaves. Playing like an animal does wonders to reset the nervous system and bring us into the mammalian state, which is far more relaxing and fun. Explore different environments in which it is safe to express and reclaim, oh, there's that word, these primal parts of ourselves, such as with a close friend or lover, or at guided workshops, free-form community dance events, and conscious music festivals. Embody invitation, primal play. Focus. Channel your inner beast. Find a place that you feel comfortable and safe to let loose. And make large expressive movements and sounds. It may be a spot out in nature, a dance studio, or simply inside your living room. Feel into the energy that is most alive in you at this moment, waiting to be expressed through your body and voice. Is your expression ecstatic and playful, like a baby rabbit frolicking in the forest? Wildly sexual and primal, like a mountain lioness in heat? Or a fierce expression of raw rage, like a crocodile? Perhaps you would like to just move around on all fours and intuitively explore various movements and sounds that you don't usually give yourself permission to do. This is a great practice to move blocked anger, sexual energy, and even unexpressed joy. Be free and creative with this and explore whatever movements feel joyful and liberating for you. Well, okay. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So now from the Reclaim Oracle, well, isn't that funny? I couldn't make this up if I tried. We actually have one, I believe, one of the newest cards from the 4th edition of the Reclaim Oracle, and that is the Intimacy card. And yes, I'm absolutely going to be reading from the guidebook on this one. And I believe the message is, I feel like I don't really need to say much more because, the messages just seem to string together for me, if that makes sense. And I hope that, that it's clear in what even the guidebooks has outlined and how that relates to, each card that's added on. So anyways, intimacy is a kind of togetherness underneath the surface. It is being close to the point where one forgets where the other begins. It is a feeling of safety, even at my most vulnerable. Intimacy is rooted in love, respect, and a desire for complete knowledge of each other. And so I absolutely love that. And so it's it just, what what flashes in mind right now for me so heavily as as I see these cards together, with especially with Iset and the surrender card on here, and if you can see the image, and this is just, I see the red flowers around, the idea of and of course the red, the red, what seems to be like upholstery on the chair that the goddess is sitting on. And as we can see, there is a lighter skin toned child latched on to this goddess. And considering what what has been going on for thousands of years, and what has karmically cycled to even to present right now, the whole need to deny the darkness, the feminine aspect of humanity, to belittle it, to put it in such like crush it into this tiny box of expectations. Deep down, right? And then the imbalance between the polarities in all aspects of being. Humanity, just like everything else, is divided into stages of growth, right? And that includes our life cycle and our lifespan and journey, but also taking on the understanding that we're reflections of one another, and this hierarchy of putting ourselves in categories in society, in how we break up groups and who's deserving of of financial security, how we divvy up the earth's resources, the imbalance. We all need each other, and this disconnect, this divide of every aspect, even down to our various generations, this lack of understanding because of ego because of controlled programming. That has been enforced into the masses for so long that we have all this divination and spirituality. The light and the dark cannot exist without one another. We need each other. Every single shade, beginning from A to Z. That includes our DNA. Okay. Everything is divided up into polarities. The sun, the moon, east, west, north. What? North, south, east, west. Thank you. Haha. Kind of weird dance was that? Okay. And so are we. And the more we multiply, the more we divide. But we have room to grow and build newer and stronger communities as we continue to live and learn and share. And I think the light just went out. And understanding what true intimacy is, it's not just you know, we tend to have a very narrow-minded understanding of what the definition of intimacy is. Most people associate it with, you know, sexual intent and you know, sexual orientation and, you know, who we may be physically attracted to and things like that. It doesn't always mean that. So remembering our woundings as well and respecting one another and having the respect and understanding that we all have our different journeys too. So we also have our different programmings, and it's also with the integrity and understanding and open and emotional intelligence to communicate our boundaries effectively and openly and honestly with respect and integrity. Do we make it genuinely, collectively, a safe space within society that we can all live and feel safe in? How do we do that? By doing the shadow work, the deep reflection, the introspection, the therapy work, and healing. And surrendering the ego, the negative karmic patterns of behavior that lower our vibrations, that cloud us in seeing clearly the true value of each other, because we continuously have a misguided view of our own value within self. Okay. Okay. Hang on. So next here, I hope you guys can still see even though the light kind of went out, but okay, next we have the Three of Cups. So as you can see in this card here, in this Three of Cups, we have, you know, what seems to be, you know, a very multiple feminized reflection of different feminine archetypes. That's what I'm trying to say. Right? We have, you know, even in their appearance and even in their body shape, size, their hairstyle, their skin tone. And they're all together, gathered together, enjoying themselves, having a great time together, supporting each other in a very celebratory manner. And as you can see, equally, they're all within the spotlight that is shining mutually upon all of them. You know, that screams to me togetherness and, you know, and the understanding, you know, of all aspects of intimacy, not just on a, you know, on one particular level. But a genuine, purely truthful understanding. And then, okay, so that's the intimacy card. And with the Three of Cups, from the Tarot de St. Croix, we have the Queen of Wands. So, you know, really standing in truth and power and leadership. That really gives that Mary Magdalene, you know, sense of energy. And okay, so we have Guardian Angel, you are not alone. Your ancestors walk with you. So, you know, all the, you know, when you are connecting with your, you know, with the divine feminine, you know, that Mother Mary archetype, and, you know, and honoring your historical ancestors. You know, as we begin April with Easter and, you know, the representation of planting seeds and spring and birthing anew, right? And then we go into May honoring Mother's Day, the divine feminine, mental health, right? All that connects us to Mother Nature, our vibrations, our connection to Earth, Source, where our bodies originate from and go back to. Okay, and so from the Under the Roses Lenormand deck, we have 10 of the sickle. So it cycles, cutting out what no longer serves us, what has no longer been serving us, on a deep individual level, of heart, that has maybe been also programmed into our ancestral history and pattern of ancestral generational trauma that needs to be faced and healed. And by healing, it's surrendering to, accepting, taking responsibility for, and making the necessary changes, of will to action behavior for grounded, in real life change. On all levels of humanity, from self, throughout our families, our communities, and essentially globally speaking. And that's why I always, saying and speaking of, cutting out the negativity, patterns of behavior that not only drain us individually and has, that has sent us on a negative cycle of trauma. But when we don't heal and we only shove and sweep under the rug and don't actually heal that darkness, confronting it, you kind of leave it in the darkness to fester. And when that happens, you now end up unknowingly, and maybe knowing, and maybe to some degree knowingly, intentionally, because you're living in survival mode and fight or flight because of trauma, to behave a certain way that only inflicts more pain, creates more darkness, ultimately lowering the collective vibration of energy that weigh us all down. It's time to let all that go and remind ourselves of our importance to the whole, our whole, the wholeness of self and other selves. Because without each other, we don't exist. So, yeah. So anyways, so, and that's of course, and then we have, 10. So that's the, of course, that's, the, the numerology of 10, cycles, ending and beginning again, changing patterns of behavior, and also, the Jack of Diamonds is the equivalent, so the playing card equivalent, which pretty much translates to, I would say a dual reflection of the Page and Knight of Wands, learning and actioning new behavior, patterns of behavior, and then of course with the diamonds representing, the pentacle aspect. So, resources, our assets, sharing, changing, what has been robbing us and each other, and changing that. Okay, so anyway, so that's pile number 1. And then next I have pile number 2 with the pendulum. Okay, and the first card I have here now from, again, the African Goddess Rising Oracle by Abriola Abrams. I have 29. So, Allah, grief. So, yes, healing and letting go of that all, the old, patterns of behavior, from previous generations. Clearing out the cobwebs of our past so that future generations can prosper in the light of our existence. Okay. Let me read this one here. Okay. So, Allah, Goddess of Grief, Igbo, Nigeria, Temple Lovers, Element Bush, Ancient Earth Mother, Allah, is the foremost Igbo Alusi. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that. I do apologize. Deity, goddess. Allah oversees motherhood, fertility, and the afterlife. After death, humans return to the womb of Allah, replanted in the soul to reincarnate. And as I kind of fumbled the word soul, it was coming out and sounding very much like the word soil, as in the earth. That darker, rich soil of Mother Earth. I'm hearing the darker the berry, the sweeter the juice. Okay. Allah's guidance. Give spirit your grief. Bawl it out. Wail it out. Cry it out. Sob. Shriek. Shed tears. Surrender it. I believe we had the surrender card in pile number 1, no? Okay. Embodiment. You are holding unprocessed grief. You want to skip over it and get back to normal. But grief doesn't go away because you ignore it. The only way to healing is to walk through it. Losing a loved one is the ultimate heartbreak, but you also experience grief after breakups, job loss, and disappointments. Self-love and self-care are required. Ask for support. Be gentle with yourself. And may I remind you with others also. Goddess declaration. I am supported by my loved ones, those who are seen and those who are unseen. Okay. Alrighty. Next we have hold on, we got here 17 womb time. Okay. All right, so this is again from the Ebony Oracle deck, Embody Oracle deck by Himalaya. Art by Alexis Cohen. Okay, 17 womb time. Explore pure creative expression. Beloved sister, it is your birthright to be a powerful creator in this world. Whether you are a mother or not, the seat of creativity lies in your womb. This is where all artistic endeavors are nurtured and birthed into this world. By connecting with your womb, you can connect to your inner guidance and wisdom. If you've been feeling stuck or stagnant in being able to move forward into your dreams, focusing on your womb can help unlock dormant life forces. The word yoni is the Sanskrit word for vagina and means sacred gateway. Whether you felt intimidated or excited about this sacred part of your body in the past, By familiarizing yourself with your yoni's capacity to generate vitalizing life force energy, you can connect to your inner goddess now. It is essential to clear and open the energies of the womb as a healing journey for each woman in her own unique way. This is an opportunity for you to explore beauty, grace, and magic beyond anything you may have experienced or known possible. Excuse me. Embody invitation, yoni pulses. Focus, strengthen your womb connection. This practice is sometimes done with a jade egg inserted into the vaginal canal. The jade egg practice was designed to enhance Kegel exercises by adding weight and resistance. Kegels are the practice of contracting and releasing your pelvic floor muscles. If you don't have a jade egg, you can still do the yoni exercises, visualizing that you are squeezing a small ball of healing white light with your pelvic/vaginal muscles. To begin the exercise, take 3 deep breaths and bring your awareness down to your womb area. Begin squeezing up the muscles of the vaginal canal, holding for a breath, and relax the muscles completely. Repeat this several times, noticing any sensations or energy that may be building. Complete this embodiment exercise by placing your hands over the top of your womb center in Yoni Mudra, which is putting your palms flat on your lower belly, thumb tips and forefinger tips touching to create a triangle. Okay. Also, I would also add that even as, a person presenting in a male body, there are also exercises to strengthen the pelvic floor for males as well. So that's something to also maybe look up on how to do that. If that is something that is, more suited to your needs. Also, for those that, may no longer have, a womb for whatever medical reasons, the understanding of spirit and that, still embodying that and honoring, that aspect of self, even if it is, no longer physically a part of you, it is still, something that is still within your making, your creation, your origins, if you will, so still honoring that, because it still exists within spirit. It always, will, so, that, and of course, based on your own physical abilities, finding the best practices, in order, to do that, that best is suited for you, is also something that I would, like to express in addition to, what I just read. So, yeah, just honoring, all that is, the divine feminine and celebration of creation. So anyways, and then next from the Reclaim Oracle, we have uncertainty. Okay. So, I want to say, just letting, even in the moments of when we feel disconnected from our intuition and, our feelings, that, getting back and just taking that time to sit with, honor, respect, and let go of what is keeping us stuck in our knowing and understanding of self and each other. What are we hoping to see our existence for in the future? It's without it's letting that low vibrational energy continuously pull us down away from the light and our truth. We continue to disconnect from our self and truth, and create further and further disruption, disarray, and disconnect. Okay. Oh, right. Uncertainty. Okay. Uncertainty is when I need to know what's on the other side of pain. It's climbing up a hill with a weight on my chest to catch a glimpse of the future and make sure I'll be okay. But the future is empty. It hasn't happened yet. It was always up to me. Yes. So taking the responsibility and letting go of that pain, honoring, recognizing what we've been through, what has hurt us, what we've had, what has been taken from us, or we've been denied. But instead of using that as a weight to keep us stuck in this clouded state of confusion, taking responsibility and letting it go. and recognizing that we have a choice in changing our will and expectations. Because again, everything is unknown. It's not until we get there in that moment will we know for sure what will be. So, not allowing ourselves to get clouded in that uncertainty. And you know, in what I found myself, you know, even, you know, as an overthinker, as a, you know, a Virgo who, you know, is very analytical, analysis paralysis, right? So, you know, catching those moments of pattern behavior and making, you know, and making a conscious effort and choice to change. Oh, wow, that came out really weird. But anyways, but you know, but again, I think I in a previous video, I've spoken about, you know, when we're, you know, habits and programming and behavior, you know, that analogy about going 100 miles an hour, changing a habit, it's not always easy. You can't slam on the brakes and then expect to stop instantaneously. It takes time, right? And freedom and understanding and patience, you know, of self and others to work through that. So, right? Okay. Next from, oh, this is the Black Femme Tarot. I don't know if I mentioned that, by, Latti. And we have the Hanged Man, or the Hanged, in this case from this deck, the Hanged Femme. So, yeah, so, you know, flipping that script, you know, changing that pattern of behavior, doing that introspection, right? Doing the inner work so that as we progress forward, you know, in life and, you know, in the choices we make and interactions and connections with one another, we're you know, we're making a conscious choice to change that negative pattern of behavior that has been stripping us from our truth and connectivity with self and others. And ultimately, our Divine Mother, Mother Earth. So, okay. And then we have the Five of Swords. So again, you know, that understanding that negative programming, that you know, that has been, that we've been conditioned, right? Like in this image here, we see what, you know, looks to be a very sort of masculine looking figure, you know, pointing and what looks to be scolding, you know, a divine feminine, and the offspring is seeing this pattern of behavior, this negative projection and behavior of will and dictatorship It's time to change that negative, condescending programming. And balancing the you know, the both aspects of humanity and creation. You know, both polarities, the masculine and the feminine, you know, the yin, the yang, the light, the shadow, the sun, the moon. Earth, air, fire, water. And what exists in the center of that all. So, you know, that unfair injustice. Yeah. Okay. Oh, and that again, that card now is from the Tarot de Saint Croix. And then we have here the Shaolin Master. Be graceful in movement and action. Shaolin Master, be graceful in movement and action. Message: slow and steady. Breathe and flow. Take a gentler approach. About Shaolin monks practice Chan Buddhism and are masters of Kung Fu, art and traditional Chinese medicine. Shaolin medicine is about learning to adapt to a situation and to tap into the energy running through your body and preserve it in order to release it at the right moment. It also teaches subtlety, because when you are too forceful, you use too much energy, and that may not be supportive of what you are working on. The Shaolin master, like a monk, has respect for all things. Depicted here holding a praying mantis, one of the forms of Shaolin martial arts. He is disciplined and guided by his art and will never use it to impress the foolish or to appear stronger than someone who is threatening him. You too are being invited to remain graceful in your movement, choices, and actions. Extended message. You are being guided to flow like water, blow like air, and connect with your purest intentions. Don't feel you need to rush ahead. A gentler approach will be more fruitful and rewarding. Move with subtlety and grace. Reach high, but also ask yourself how you can move with the flow of life rather than pushing against it. Do you have the capacity to refocus your gaze at this time? Can you slow down or take more time to soften and breathe as you move forward? all of this will be incredibly beneficial for what happens next. Okay. Yeah, I really like that. And of course, we have 31 from the Under the Roses Lenormand, the Sun, which is the ace, equivalent to the Ace of Diamonds in a playing card deck. Excuse me. So, 31 in numerology, 3 plus 1 equaling 4, significant of, stability. And, with the Ace of Pentacles being that understanding of giving and receiving, and possibility of a lucrative opportunity, because the diamonds being equivalent to pentacles and things that are tangible, right? The sun, joy, illumination, a new day, the light at the end of the tunnel, guidance, serenity. That's, and then maybe even, maybe even the 31st is a significant date, the sun being equivalent to, of course, even, Leo, the lion and the equivalent to strength. So, harmony, unity, infinity. We just had the partial solar eclipse. So that could be also significant. Anyway, even, again, Leo season, that as well, this year coming up. Anyways, so next, we've got the, again, the heart-shaped stone that I can't remember what it's called. And if any of you happen to know, please let me know in the comments. That would be fantastic. Like I said, I can put what I think I found, but I'm not 100% sure that's correct. So, if you happen to know, and better about, stones and crystals, that would be awesome. Thank you. And then, of course, so now again for pile number 3, we have the from the African Goddess Rising Oracle by Abriola Abrams. We have 34, Nundi, Truth. Okay, let me move this pile up. Okay. Excuse me. All right. 34, Nundi, Goddess of Truth. Benin, Temple, Griots. Element, water. Nundi, the bold, outspoken wife of Benin, Iwa, deity, Legba, was feeling neglected by her husband. Even with several wives, his head easily turned. So Nandi lived her truth, took her own lover, and became her own best friend. Nandi's guidance. Get real. What is your truth? Truth telling matters. Being able to hear the truth matters just as much. Embodiment. Tell the truth. Each person has their own version. Speak your words. Words have impact. Remember that we all have triggers. Think before you speak and listen with compassion. Be gentle and stay calm in truth-telling conversations. Goddess declaration: the truth is my friend. Amen. And take it what you will. It happens to be on page 69. So to me, that absolutely just represents harmony, balance, the significance of the symbol, the yin and yang symbol, right? Light and shadow. So duality, harmony, bring us back to the beginning of the very first card in pile number 1 of this very same deck. Which is card 44 here with is set surrender. Okay. Okie dokes. And so next we have, again, I think I spoke about mirror work. And I just want to point out that in this card, we see this, woman in who happens to be looking down into her own reflection. And as you see that, where her head's at, and what it seems to be her reality, what seems to be her reality is devastation, right? Clouds, what looks like a volcano that has erupted, right? And it's the same outfit that she's wearing that's reflected back to her, right? But what is shown on the other side is, not the same image that you're seeing in the background of her. This, what looks like a canister or, I don't know, her essential belongings, limited resources, if you will, beside her is not in the reflection. What's in the reflection is greenery, flourishing, abundance of earth. Not destruction, not chaos, not clouds, not heavy darkness. Not destruction. Right? But looking deep within, mirror work, introspection, to see the truth of self. And as we recognize that in self, we can recognize that in other selves and respect that. break ourselves out of this dictatorship matrix that we've been stuck in for so long. And our inability to see the truth in one another reflected back to us. This lack mentality that we've been stuck in and led to believe about ourselves and certain aspects of each other. So, okay. Then we have 15, pleasure. This woman seems very empowered to be herself and standing in her truth. And, you know, being very prideful of who she is, who they are. Who they want to be. Okay, so, okay. Trust. Trust. Trust is a warm presence, a knowing within. I cannot explain how I know what to do, how I know where to go, and I cannot tell you how I see with eyes closed, beyond the shadows and the tombs of past experience. Trust is choosing love. It's growing a garden of faithful flowers. From each flower grows a new love, and from this love grows a whole world for me and you. Yes, absolutely. And I believe I spoke earlier about, you know, that respect and understanding of each other, that, you know, remembering that we all have triggers, right? Emotional, in raising our vibrations and our level of emotional intelligence so that we can create safety and understanding and compassionate space for us to be able to embrace our femininity, our vulnerability, our caring and nurturing nature for self and others. Creating that sense of community so that we all feel safe to show up with pride in our truth and authenticity. Okay. So next, again, for pile 3, we have the 5 of Wands. So, you know, again, we have what looks like a community. You know, everyone is, you know, at the center, and they're all standing in their truth and power with each other. I mean, some of them look like we got some attitude built, though. but it's not, it doesn't look like they're in a state of aggression. It's just standing in truth and power of who they are in their individual selves. In their, you know, their collective feminine energy, nurturing energy, giving and nurturing energy of will. And trusting that everyone's equally going to do their part, too, for that matter. Okay, next up from the, we have the Page of Swords from the Tarot de Saint Croix by Lisa de Saint Croix. And so, you know, we have what, you know, mathematics, you know, planning, you know, creating structure, of mind, sort of learning how to rebalance that divine masculine energy. Excuse me. Okay. Next we have Warrior. Be fearless and stand strong. Okay, and this is from the Angels and Ancestors Oracle. If you remember, I did use this, but the larger version, the regular size version by Kyle Gray. But this is, I'm now using the pocket-sized version of it for this reading here. So, Warrior, be fearless and stand strong. Message, don't back down. Make your opinions heard. Don't settle for second best. About, inspired by the Maori, the indigenous people of Aotearoa. Aotearoa. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, and if I'm butchering it, I'm so sorry. New Zealand. This card summons the warrior within. A warrior is anyone who is ready and willing to know themselves and do what needs to be done in order to get where they want to be. In this deck, the warrior embodies fierce, primal love. The warrior within, the energy you can call on to protect yourself, even if you don't think you love yourself. If you are exposed to a situation that could be harmful or dangerous, The steps you take to protect yourself are in fact acts of fierce love. The warrior within is made of light and has the capacity to shine even more brightly when facing darkness head on. Extended message. If you're experiencing fear at this time, know that this means whatever is going on is important to you. Whenever you feel fear, you are on the verge of something big. Perhaps a massive breakthrough that is going to really help you move forward. If you have a situation on your hands where you have to face someone or something that's been unsettling you, know that you are being guided to call up your inner warrior. Don't falter and don't be frightened, because you have the energy to protect yourself now and at all times. Yes. And by this, I mean the truth and honor of self, as well as those around you. Also embodying and respecting karma, the law of karma, and that balance too, right? And also recognizing and standing in truth and honor. And, that idea, talking about love, this warrior here is also dressed, even makeup in, what is, in green. And, that representation of earth. And also, I think of the heart chakra as well. The stone that comes to mind is labradorite. And roots. The strength of our ancestors and grassroots. Right? So, here, next we have, and last but not least, of pile number 3, we have from the Under the Roses Lenormand, we have 2, the clover. And, we have the lucky clover, which is the 6 of diamonds representation in a playing card deck. And again, diamonds being the equivalent of pentacles. So, the balance of prosperity, right? For self and others. And the luck and growth and opportunities to come forth and spring anew as we, are moving forth into, this year and, the month of April. So excuse me. I hope that you enjoyed this installment of my pick three a cup full of love pick a pile reading, mindful messages, for the month of March, as we now are stepping forth into the month of April. As I'm filming this, it is April the 3rd. And I want to thank you so much for joining me today for this. And for me to finally be able to introduce you to, what's coming new, with my new collab channel. So I hope that you will join me over there. Coming soon will be, I'll have a video up on the new channel. And I'll probably, and I'll post a link here in my community tab, but of course, of our promo video announcing what's to come on that channel podcast, and of course which we are looking to have a premiere video of our first episode on May 4th 2025. So I hope that you will stick around and join us over there. Of course, I'll have a link down to that new channel down below so that you can check it out. And of course, there's really nothing there other than just a profile for now. And then, like I said, soon I will be uploading our promo video up there. So please, I hope that you would like, share, and subscribe. And again, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you enjoyed the video, and again, take whatever messages, speak, more to you. You're welcome to connect all three piles together for one large reading, or break them up, as I said, and, pick which one, you felt most drawn to. And of course, even if some from each pile kind of, seem to connect for you, that's great too. I hope that you will, share how that resonates. And, as you, do some journaling and introspection for yourself, what about what the cards and I showed you and read to you about the messages seem to, really resonate with you? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much. And, with all that being said, as I always say, I am love and so are you. As I see myself as human, I know you are too. And I hope that you leaving here will remember to take care of yourself and each other. And while you're at it, don't forget about me too. Thank you so much. And until we chat again, always remember to check your privilege, mind your magic, and as always, with love, live, listen, and learn. I love you. Bye.